What if I told you that the success of your brand is not only predicated on the quality of your products and the quality of your marketing, also on your brand aesthetic, your brand icon, and your brand name? I'm going to be running you through my step-by-step process towards how to think about and how to create an effective brand with the visuals to go along it. You can take up the likes of Nike, Gymshark, and you can be behind a brand that you're proud of. The core essential step to any strong brand is understanding your brand. What is the core tenets of this brand? Understanding this gives you the tools necessary to make creative decisions down the line that are going to impact not only how you choose the visuals of your brand, but also the words that you use to describe your brand. All of these come from an understanding of the brand itself. Next up, you need to brainstorm brand names. Do not be specific. There's no perfection. I know at the core what my brand is and what it stands for, and I just start saying anything that comes to my mind that I feel aligns with that. I'll say a specific word and then I'll use that word to jumpstart into other words, other variants of that specific word. Keep going and going until something sticks. One thing I highly recommend is consider brainstorming with other people with varying points of view too. No matter how smart you are, no matter how in tune they are, there's only so much that you can pump out at a specific moment. Having the opinions of others gives you an expansive worldview and something that you might not have thought of before. You might just find your next brand name from the friendly suggestion of someone that's brainstorming with you. Now it's time to create your logo. I've gone through a step-by-step process on the technical aspects of logo creation. Number one, it's going to come down to mood boarding. Go ahead, find a bunch of inspiration images of brands, aesthetics, visuals, existing logos that you like, and create a mood board. Go ahead and start sketching. I recommend sketching on Procreate. Get one logo concept and sketch 20 different concepts with it quickly and have no expectations of the quality level of this concept. At this stage, you're just getting out your thoughts onto paper. Now you can select 2 or 3 core options from each prototyping session and start to correct it. Once you have 3 or 4 strong options, now you can consider going into Adobe Illustrator or any other vector-based software and vectorizing it. Once you have that, then it's time to create a combination of your logo mark and your word mark. Make sure that they read or breathe life into each other, that there's a resonance between how the logo mark appears and how the word mark appears, and go from there. Next up, consider testing your logo. It's essentially important in order to go out, ask people for their opinions, consider putting up a survey online, whether it's Google Forms or SurveyMonkey. Are they able to understand the core concept of the logo? What words would they use to characterize the logo? If you're trying to go for something luxury, but you get the sense from others that it's very mundane or simple or it's economical, then there's a dissonance between what your intention is and what your customers or what your viewers' reaction is. Last but not least, you need to register the logo. If you're going to register the visual icon, you may want to consider copywriting the logo. And if you want to register the logo mark or the word, you will want to trademark the word. What you'll notice a lot of brands or a lot of successful brands succumb to is they'll start off and they'll notice, oh, my brand name, no one is challenging my brand name and I'm selling product. And then as they go through the months, through the years, eventually something comes up and the trademark holder of that specific name or the copyright holder of that specific logo comes up out of nowhere and will take you to court and will sue you over lost wages or lost profits that have been accruing over the years. Sometimes this can even be malicious. You can have companies that have been waiting for you to slip up and to get some form of notoriety or fame until they go ahead and sue you. So cover your bases. Don't go into business without having that secured. What are the different types of logos that are available to me? The first one is going to be your letter marks or your monogram logos. These are going to be combinations of letters, typically arranged in one way or another. Maybe fashion houses like Louis Vuitton, YSL. You have brands like ASRV from the sportswear perspective, and these are typically going to be abbreviations either for the family name of the founder or sort of mantra or motto that the brand has. Make sure that you pick the right abbreviation and matches your brand aesthetic. If you look at LV's monogram logo is synonymous with its different patterns that they use across a wide variety of their products. Next up are brand marks, or otherwise referred to as pictorial logos, and And these are going to be brands that have iconic imagery that represent some section or some aspect of a brand in a visual way. Great example of this would be Polo Ralph Lauren, which is characterized by the iconic polo player charging down the line on a horse with polo stick in hand. Next up is the emblem logo. These are going to be logos that integrate some form of text, brand name into a seal, an icon, or badge, reminiscent of those old style crest logos that we have. Great example of this would be Tommy Hilfiger. Next up, we have the mascot logo. And although this is a not overly popular logo in the wider fashion space, it does make a tremendous amount of sense in the sportswear space. The animal that you choose can be a visual representation of the aesthetic, of the values, of the details that the brand wants to project about itself. Some veterans of the industry that are well known for having a mascot logo would be Puma, the Alphalete Wolf, or the Alphalete Husky. Next up, we have the abstract logo mark, and these are a unique type of pictorial logo. It leaves the viewer or the actual customer to think more about the association being made. There is something quite beautiful and a connection to be made. Good example of this would be MasterCard, that has the iconic two circles overlapping, sort of like a Venn diagram. It's meant to represent connectivity that MasterCard is able to provide by connecting vendors and merchants to the customers that wish to purchase from them. Now, I promised that I would save the best two for last. First one is going to be the wordmark logo. This is the most clear-cut, most direct way of presenting and projecting your brand, basically where the brand name is translated into an effective, stylized typography association between the brand name and the wordmark chosen. And you can stylize the typeface in order to get the brand aesthetic up there. Good example would be the Nike wordmark, where they've opted for a dynamic, bold, large, full uppercase typography with a sheer or sort of a dynamic italicism to it to represent speed, running, and athleticism. Last but not least is the king daddy of all of logo options, and this is going to be the combination mark. The combination mark is what it sounds like. It's a combination between either a pictorial logo, an abstract logo, and the word mark itself. This gives you the best of both worlds. The best example of this would be Nike, characterized by its iconic swoosh logo, but also synonymous with the bold italic Nike font. And these fonts can be used in tandem. You either see the lockup where you have the swoosh up top and you have the Nike logo at the bottom, or you see the swoosh on its own, or you see the Nike mark on its own. You are able to use your logo on your packaging, on your website, on your social media, on different products, all get you to create a stronger sense of brand depth and brand scalability. To recap quickly, in order to create a strong and effective brand, know your customer, know your brand, create the icon, and actually go ahead and register and trademark your logo. And then when it comes to the different options, my recommendation is either stick with a traditional word mark if you don't want to go too deep into the weeds of designing your own icon, or consider adding in an abstract logo or a pictorial logo and create a combination mark. Please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It always helps us out, it keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. Stay awesome.